All right, this is a quick guide on the difference between a page and a post in WordPress. WordPress is a flexible platform with several types of content, but two of the main types of content that you'll be using will be pages and posts. Now, it's easiest, probably best to describe posts first. Posts are blog posts. WordPress, in its roots, came as a blogging platform, originally as a blogging platform, and has since evolved into a more full-featured content management system. But at its roots, it still is a blogging platform, and so posts are anything that you would consider to be like a blog post that you want to appear in a feed type format. And an example of that is the articles that I have on my blog here, which all appear in a feed type format. So if I click on articles, these are all blog posts. So I can click on any of them. For example, waterfall versus iterative software development, and I can open this up and this is a post. So to create a new post as a starting point, all we need to do is hover over posts and then click add new. And we reach this sort of format. Now this is the new Gutenberg editor. There are a few extra features here that I have added specifically to deal with SEO and email signups and things like that. But at its base, you should see a section here to add a title, then add your content. There is a grayed out button here to publish because we're not ready to publish yet, and everything else we will walk through as we go. So as a first thing that you need to do, you need to add a title to your blog post. So if I add the title as my blog post test, then that is going to be my test blog post. Then I can start writing content. This is my content. And in 2020, the best editor for WordPress is the native one that comes with WordPress called Gutenberg. You might be seeing the old style editor, but the concepts of the old style editor are very similar. It's just really the way that you add content is slightly different. Using the new block editor instead of the old Microsoft Word style editor. So this is how we add content in the editor. You can click this button here to choose different types of content. For example, I might add an image and I can choose one from my media library, and I might choose this one here, which is 2019, and then that's it. So this is my content, this is my image, and then that's all I really need to add. I can click publish from here and my post will be published. I confirm that publishing and my post will be published. So I can go and I can view that post by clicking on this. Let's close that old window, and you can see here this is my post. So it doesn't look great because I haven't added a lot of content, but it is a post that is live on my website. So that is the first thing. Now if I click this little X up here, it'll close this panel and we can go and make a few little changes to improve our blog post. So firstly, I can click on the document settings. I can scroll down here, I can change the author of who I want to be as the author of the post, but in this case I'm going to leave it as me. I can change the URL, so if I want it to be my blog post, I could change that to say post test instead and the URL would change. I can choose a category for my post. So for example, I have ones for online business, productivity, software, web development. So say for example, we want this to be productivity and we want to remove the uncategorized category. Then we want to go down. We can choose a tag. I'm not going to choose tags because I think that involve a little bit too much extra management, but you can add tags if you want to. A tag in this situation might be test, or a tag might be 2019 or something like that. Featured image. Now you can add an image as the featured image. My particular blog doesn't use a feature image in the blog, but some themes and websites do. So I'll explain that in a sec. And you can add an excerpt which appears as an excerpt in the blog listing. So I'll just say excerpt listing here. So I'll just show you that. And that's it. That's all you really need to do. If you have an SEO section like this, yours might look a little bit different, then you can tweak some of the SEO settings as the meta title and meta description I really like this plugin called All-in-One SEO because it is not too bloated, and it allows me to see whether my title is too short, for example, and my description here is too short, so I can get some feedback about whether this is going to be good for Google or not very, very quickly. So in order to update your post, you just click this button up here, update, and if I head back to my articles page, normally you would see an image here, but my blog doesn't have it. And you can see here I've got my excerpt list here. And if I go into here, I can see the URL has changed and everything else is pretty much the same. Okay, so that is posts. Now let's get into pages, because pages are very similar. What I'm going to do before that is I'm just going to delete this post because I don't want a test post on my blog. So I just press move to trash, and then I can go into, so I get taken back here. These are all my blog posts, and I can choose to delete this permanently because I want to get rid of it. Okay, so the next step is to create a new page. So I'm going to hover over the pages section and click add new. Page is going to be any type of content that isn't featured on your blog is a page. So most people will be using pages as the majority of their website content. Posts are really only designed for blog posts, and we covered them first because of that reductive nature of how pages are. Pages are anything that a post isn't. So now you have an idea of what a post is, you can pretty quickly identify that your content is probably a page rather than a post, for example. So let's have a look. My new page, let's do that. And then we can start adding some new content. And that's all we really need to do. Again, that's all we need to do. We can click publish, publish, and we have a new page. So let's view our page. It's going to be a very simple page. Yeah, as you can see here, there's not really anything to it. And then we can go back here and we can click the little X up here. We can go into the document settings. And again, we can do the same sort of changes, slightly different, but same sort of changes. So we can change the author, the permalink. We can add a feature image, which is not really going to do a lot because our page isn't featured in a list of anything. We can choose the page template. So for example, I've got a full width template, a landing template, a template to use with a specific type of builder, which might be a page builder. And so there's different kinds of templates that you can choose. You can create new ones yourself, or you might have different ones. This is not an exhaustive list. But for example, I might have a template which shows some unique information that allows me to do cool things. But that page template will be created by a developer or myself if I have the skills to do it. Page parent. So for example, if I want this page to be sitting underneath, I want this to sit underneath my about page, for example, then I can do that. So I click that and I click update, and the URL for this page is going to change. So I'll let that change. And now, as you can see here, the URL is now joshanthony.net/about/my new page. So that's how we get the page to sit underneath another page. And before it wasn't sitting under a page. So we can change that however we need to change it. And that's all we really need to do. We can check out the SEO settings again if we want to, but we don't need to. And that's all we need to do. Now, most people want rather complex content on their pages. So that's where you have to use the builder, and that's really a separate video that we would need to do because it's a very complex topic. However, if you try to add a new content block onto the page here, you can see here that there are lots of different types of content: quotes, cover images, headings, galleries, audio, files, anything that you need to add. And then you can start to also think about the formatting of the layout elements, whether you need columns or buttons or spacers, add space between elements. Columns, break your content into columns and rows. Buttons allow you to send people to different pages from that page. So there are lots of depth to being able to create a successful page, which we can't cover right now, but I just wanted to touch on it so you could see and learn a little bit about it. And, I'd encourage you to experiment. You can always switch your page over to a draft. So once this page here saves, I can click switch to draft, and that's going to unpublish my page. It's going to make my page a draft, and then I can preview my page by clicking the preview button. And I can preview this in a safe way without other people seeing what's happening. And I can go crazy and make lots of changes and make my page look amazing. And then when I'm ready, I press publish. But until then, I just keep saving a draft. And that draft page is not accessible to other people. Okay, thank you for your time. And I hope this was valuable. Let me know if you need any help by visiting our website. And thank you and have a great day.